Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me well? Okay. So, if you hear me well, could I kindly ask you to put your... What shall we do? Let's put country today. So, last time I have asked you to put your city. Okay, so Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Armenia. Great, great. Armenia, yes, warm greetings, the same to you. Yes, good evening, good day for some, but good evening for most countries in Central Asia. Great, so let us have a couple of minutes for people to join today. I do hope you enjoyed the last session and we are happy to continue. Okay, so Astana, Kazakhstan. Hello, hello. Yes. Thank you, Stella. Yes, I loved that. Yes. Okay. Yes, it was really great. Yes. Yes, Uzbekistan, Tashkent. Yes. Yes. Okay. I hope you all received your certificates and a recording and TKT preparation materials. In case you didn't, please drop me an email and I will check everything. Don't worry about that. I will check for you and send all the required documents. Don't worry. Okay. Bishkek, Yerevan, Kyrgyzstan. That's great. Great. Good. So people are coming. Yes, so some people from Turkey even. Great, Yelena. Armenia. Okay. Aziz, if you haven't received your certificate, so the chat is moving so fast. So please answer my invitation letter. That's my personal working email. And I will send your certificate one more time. Don't worry. So if you haven't received the certificate from the last session and you did attend the webinar, so please, as a first step, check in your spam box. And if you can't see anything, please email me answering invitation letter. This is my working email, helena.markova@cambridge.org. Okay? So, and I will resend all the materials. Okay. So, Kazakhstan. Yes, yes, Aziz, please do. Sorry for that, but so that system sometimes doesn't work properly, unfortunately. Okay, okay. So yes, you can access the webinar via laptop, computer, or mobile phone. This is absolutely fine. Yes, good, good. So we'll allow just 1 minute more for people to join, and we'll start for those who were on time. Hello, hello, Uzbekistan, Bishkek. So this is Yelena.Markova@cambridge.org. But the easiest way to find an invite I've sent you, I always send from my working email. Just answer it and I will send you your certificate. Don't worry. Okay. Okay. Good, good. Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Kostanay. Yes, 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 yes. Good, good. Right, right, right. Perfect, perfect. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Okay, shall we start then? colleagues? Perfect. Let's start. Okay. Oops. Oh. Okay. Anna, can you hear us? Okay. Can you join? And we are ready to start.
Hello, Yelena.
Hello, Anna. So nice to meet you today. Okay. Yes. So, dear friends, dear colleagues, welcome to our live webinar today. That's our second session. Thank you for coming today, and we do hope that you enjoy the experience. So, my name is Elena. I'm from Cambridge University Press and Assessment, and we are here with an exciting event, Cambridge Online TKT course. So before we get started, let me tackle a few housekeeping items that need your attention. So first of all, we recommend using Chrome, and for those who are watching us using your mobile phones, please use the webinar app. It's available for both iOS and Android devices. So secondly, please make sure that you don't run any other applications on your computer, please, because it usually slows down your connection. So in case you cannot hear Anna or me or can't see slides, your first step, please refresh your webinar page. The second step would be reconnect to your internet network. Now, a very important thing. If you have any questions during the session that is not connected with the topic Anna is talking about, when Anna is asking you for some questions or feedback, please type all the questions into the question box located in the right-hand corner, in the top right-hand corner. Otherwise, I can't see the chat because there are hundreds of people, and I mean, all people are answering lots of Anna's questions, and I really can't see all the questions. So please use chat box to answer Anna's questions and comments, and a question box if you have any questions about TKT, registration, whatever, in the question box. I'll try my best to answer them all. So we'll send the session's recording in a couple of days alongside with your certificate of attendance. Okay? So tomorrow is going to be our last session. So on TKT module 3, we'll be waiting for you. And now it's my honor to introduce our very talented and knowledgeable presenter today. So we are happy to have Anna Kashcheeva, who will be discussing the topic of lesson planning and use of resources for teaching. This is for TKT module 2. And I think that Anna is uniquely qualified to speak at this webinar because she's a Cambridge presenter, a CELTA trainer, a Delta trainer. She's got a huge experience in teaching for many years, and she's a Cambridge examiner. So now, without further ado, let's hear from Anna. Anna, welcome.
Thank you very much, Yelena. And hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm very happy to be here. So this is a second round for us. As on, when did we have the first one? Yeah, on Tuesday. We have quite a lot of participants today, I can see. Yeah, over 200 people. That's amazing. So that's important for me because I like keeping my webinars as interactive as possible. So please respond to what I'm asking you to answer, to consider, and type in the chat box, whatever comes to mind relevant for the topic, So today we are talking about Module 2, but I'll show you how the models are connected, Like on Tuesday, we started talking about TKT in general, and I gave you an overview of Model 1 type of tasks, right? So the task types will be similar. They're really objective tasks, like, by the way, I'm going to ask you, what task types do you think will be there in TKT Model 2? Okay, type in your ideas in the chat box. Okay, I'm sure we have a couple of people who were present on Tuesday about lesson planning. I could see the task type matching, very good. Multiple choice, exactly. Yes, methods, nice. Yeah, and odd one out, which is the trickiest. Exactly, well done, well spotted. So you do remember what I talked about, yeah? Obviously, we'll be talking about some strategies. So you are saying something about timing might be covered today. Of course, if you run a lesson plan, perhaps you'll be allocating some periods of time, yeah, in intervals of time for each stage, yeah, and timing is important. However, I believe everyone wants to be flexible during your lessons, yeah, because we want to respond to our students' needs, right? So what can help? Instead of allocating a rigid, for example, saying 5 minutes or 10 minutes, yeah, perhaps you can allocate an interval, yeah, from 5 to 10. And that's a lot better. It's easier, first of all, to meet that criterion. And also it's easier to respond to learners. You won't be in a rush. Yeah, you know that you have some kind of freedom of choice, which tasks to skip, which tasks to extend, which tasks to shorten, and so on and so forth, right? Yeah, so the course, for those of you who missed the first session, the course is about TKT in general, but each time we are delving into some tasks relevant for a particular model. And today we are talking about Model 2. So if you are full of energy, type in a plus in the chat box. We are going to get started. Great. Thank you very much. We have quite a lot of energetic participants. Yes, well done, well done. Right. So I'm showing you the aims for this session. There are quite a few, and obviously all of these things, wow, some people are so energetic. Yeah, okay, full of awesome, well done. So, some of them things are obvious, yeah, when we plan our lessons, like, and you have to, for example, to show your lesson plan to someone else, it's likely to be with some kind of aims, yeah, stages. So there is a sequence of stages within one lesson, some kind of activities, yeah. So perhaps you consider how to introduce the topic of the lesson, so what to do at the beginning to motivate your learners. Then there are a couple of main activities, within the time slot allocated for the lesson, yeah. And then towards the end of the lesson, you are likely to be planning some kind of rounding off, yeah, how to say goodbye, how to highlight students' achievements, things like that, right? So if you look at the aims of this session, it'll make sense, hopefully, yeah. So first, we plan our lessons by looking at the resources available, yeah, and selecting appropriate activities and things for our classes. Secondly, we consider different types of perspectives, like, okay, what will be my main aim? What will be the subsidiary goal? Yeah, what kind of educational goal might be there, or maybe my personal aim, yeah, as a teacher, things like that. And also within the lesson plan template, perhaps there is something like, you know, instructions or some anticipated problems or something else, yeah? So we'll be talking about different components, of course. I've mentioned a couple of types of lesson aims, and I'm going to show you which terms, which concepts are likely to be confusing in terms of lesson aims, yeah, how to state them, how to identify and tell the difference between, for example, an aim and an objective. Hopefully you're all, again, reflective practitioners, I like using this term, and you plan ahead. So it's not just one lesson at a time, you forget what you've done already, yeah, and you start planning something else, yeah. Probably it's a kind of continuous, yeah, series of lessons, and you can see how the learners can take something from their previous learning experience, yeah, and still develop further, yeah, building up and acquiring some other skills relevant for them. And then assessment activities. Again, some of you mentioned on Tuesday, yeah, on our first day, that continuous professional development is a must for teachers. Yeah, I think this is another thing that we need to keep in mind. Continuous assessment. Yeah, there will be always something like, you're not running a test, obviously, yeah, all the time. It's different. It might be an activity, it might be a short written exercise or something, yeah, or students just take part in a kind of task, and then you'll be just keeping an eye on all of them, collecting information, taking notes, and hopefully by the end of that activity you will come up with some ideas what else they need, yeah, how to help them, what to supply them with, things like that, right? So sounds like a good plan, yeah? What do you think? Agree? Let's move on then. So before we focus on lesson planning, actually, I think we need to keep in mind something that we've learned from Module 1, right? Something that we've talked about, we've mentioned already, and probably you keep it in mind all the time. Some kind of preferences, yeah, your teaching habits, some of the techniques that you use every now and again, because they're reliable, your learners respond well to them, you know that. Maybe you are a fan of CCQs and you keep asking them. Well, I am certainly of that kind. Some trainees say that I ask too many questions. Well, perhaps. Maybe you feel your learners respond well to personalized activities. So you always include a personalized activity, right? But there might be other things you consider. So how languages are learned? What do you think? What do you usually rely on? Any ideas? Yeah, I'm just inviting you to brainstorm. What is important to keep in mind? How we sort of try to meet our learners' needs. Yes, observing them, yes. Experimenting, letting them experiment, right? So you give them some freedom. Goal setting, fantastic ideas, yes. Interactions, so probably you mean using a wide range of interactions, right? Helping students work with different partners. Motivation, many people are saying something about motivation. So probably you consider if the students will be motivated to do this or that task. Yeah. Movies, why not? Yeah, okay. Learning by doing, I like it a lot, of course, because, yeah, we'll be talking about, just in a moment, we'll be talking about some theories related to how languages are learned. And one of them is skill-based theory. Yeah, I'll show you an extract, a summary of that. Yeah, authentic materials, great. Games, reflection. I think it's important to focus on developing certain skills. Yeah, they all belong to critical thinking type of skills, right? And reflective skills, one of the most important ones, yeah, to be honest, just because without considering what we are doing and why we are doing that, we are doing it not consciously, right? And if you are learning more consciously, you're more involved cognitively, and the learning is likely to be more memorable. Differentiation, fantastic, yeah. Linguistic factors, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, absolutely, I agree, it is a complex process. Project work, yeah, great. Okay, so we understand that we want our learners to be active participants, right? Throughout the course. And that's why you suggested using a variety of communicative activities, right? To develop our students' communicative competence, of course, yeah, promoting interactive skills and strategies. Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully you want to help them become better learners. Yeah, so that's one of the aims, at least sub-aims. Now, do we need to delegate responsibilities? What do you think? like I'm in charge, I'm the only source of information, yeah, our students don't know much, I'll be telling them what to do, how to do, and so on. Or you are responsible for your learning. You can actually find out the rule, have a look at a couple of examples, answer these questions, yeah, and create a kind of grid with the rule or something like that, yeah. Why do you think it might be more efficient, more effective if we involve our learners in the learning process? Flipped classroom, yeah, great. Actually, I wanted to call one of the slides flipped classroom, but then I understand that there is a lot more to talk about, so it doesn't become the main topic. But yes, I totally agree. It's very good if you can ask students to do something at home and they come better prepared to your lessons. Guided discovery, yeah, eliciting, yes, using different case studies, nice, yeah. Teach through evolve. I'm not sure what you mean, Madina. Yeah, through involving students. Yeah. Okay, role models. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Yes. So the reason for using more active approach to learning, of course, is that it's likely to be more memorable. I've just read an essay of one of my trainees on the course on advanced methodology, and she's been experimenting with dogma, if you know what it means. Yeah, who knows what dogma is? I think we've mentioned that the other time. It's just material light lessons, conversation-driven lessons. So basically, as a kind of opposition, to following course books, it appeared, that kind of movement, dogma movement. So what she was trying to do, she decided not to use any course book at that stage, and just to run a lesson, keeping in mind her students only and making use of their contributions. So she even got rid of the furniture in the classroom, and the students came into that empty room. They saw only pieces of paper on the floor, and that's how they started learning. Yeah, it was a great lesson, and that's generated a lot of discussion. The students could use different gadgets, and search for the language they needed. And the teacher was able to identify some gaps in knowledge, and created useful whiteboard prompts during the lesson. What is important, because the lesson was extraordinary, obviously fascinating for students, it became a very memorable experience, which is why in a couple of lessons, later on, she asked them to test them, and they remembered all of the items she taught them. Everything was clear. They still retained all the words. And of course, if we run memorable lessons, if they're authentic, if the students are in the center of learning, responsible for the activities they're doing, even for finding resources, for whatever activities they're taking part in, they will retain more information. And that's how they feel the need for some language, and that's how the teacher can deal with their emergent needs, right? Now, how can we help our learners at the lesson planning stage? So some of you have mentioned flipped classroom. That's an approach when you blend learning. It's not only happening in the lessons, but something can be done either before the lesson or after the lesson. Blended learning. For flipped classrooms, the students might be asked to read a text before the lesson, or read a set of rules before the lesson, or watch a video, something like that. And when they come to the lesson, they are already aware of some of the things. And it's easy to generate a discussion, or you can just practice. If they, for example, learn some rules at home, you can start practicing those things. Makes sense, they can also be asked to teach each other. That's a very good idea. Of course, we can promote peer teaching. Absolutely right. Now, what are the principles behind that? Remember, I've mentioned skill-based theory. Now let's have a look at a couple of things. A long time ago, actually, many linguists and teachers came up with this idea that language is a set of habits. We want to help our students build up a series of actions. So, for example, you start working with beginners learners, you give them certain chunks, they reproduce those chunks, they can just memorize them and repeat after you at the initial stage. And then you want it automatized. So you'll be helping them internalize that learning, right? Putting it into practice again and again, using a variety of recycling activities. Controlled practice, first of all. And then hopefully gradually, step by step, they'll remember that and they'll start using it without your help, without too much control. So from restricted practice, you can shift towards freer practice. So the original idea, one of the ideas, belonged to Skinner. So that's why we like different types of controlled practice activities and drilling techniques. Then, of course, quite an important theory appeared among cognitivism movement, and Chomsky, one of the authors of such set of principles, right? So what we've got here, we need to understand what we are saying, right? We need to understand what we're hearing. So you're exposing students to a text. Instead of asking them to focus on articles in the text, first, you ask them to read it for gist at least. So meaning comes first, right? The same thing appears when we want to teach some new language. So for example, you want to clarify some vocabulary. I don't know, extortionate. Do you know the word extortionate, by the way? So first, it should appear in a context. Prices in New York are really extortionate, right? Are they high or low? High. Are they just high or very high, right? So first, context, New York, and we all know that it is an expensive city. So you need to find a good example and expose students to that example, and then you can elicit, and if they don't know, you will give that word, and then you can ask some CCQs. Meaning comes first. Then, of course, you can ask them to repeat after you. Extortionate. Say it again. Extortionate. And so on and so forth. Here I've demonstrated how to use both. Cognitive processes will be involved because meaning comes first. Students understand what they will have to say later. And then habit formation. So they know what they're learning, and we are using some drilling. If they make a mistake, you can see that their pronunciation is inaccurate. You can correct them right away. That's what habit formation is like. We want them to keep only good habits. But it's an extreme case, of course. Sometimes we ignore students' mistakes because cognitively they're involved and they still understand what's happening. And if there is no breakdown in communication, we move on, right? Pricey as well. Good. Now, another theory I wanted to talk about is skill-based theory, skill learning. As cycling, riding a bike, speaking English, using English is a skill too, right? What we need to do, some certain mechanics of that. Like, for example, we need to train our articulators to pronounce sounds, phonemes, English phonemes, not any other things there. So we need to master that. Again, controlled practice and drilling comes in handy just because, we need to train that skill. And master it, and then we'll be more skillful and fluent and so on. There is no contradiction between habit formation and skill learning, and also cognitive process can affect our skill learning because we know what we are doing, right? We understand what we are practicing. That's important. And finally, yeah, there was a nice theory highlighted by, for example, Krashen in his work, intuitive acquisition. Yeah, we learn languages intuitively. So sometimes without understanding the rule explicitly, right, without being explained or clarified, yeah, we haven't heard anything about it, but we can pick it up effortlessly. Isn't it amazing? It's like magic, right? That's what we do when we watch films quite often or listen to music, and there is something, oh, I like it, yeah, and you start tuning in, and then you repeat, and it becomes yours, right? You start using it. You don't think about the rules behind that. You do it intuitively. That's actually what we call acquisition. So the difference between learning and acquisition is that learning happens with some kind of cognitive skills involved. It's a cognitive process, whereas acquisition is something that can be done naturally, effortlessly, yeah, in this intuitive, amazing way, right? So perhaps in our classes, before we start planning our lessons, we can consider all of these principles because they're really important, right? And we can use a combination of different things in our lessons. Exposing students occasionally to something they don't know much about, yeah, and then gradually helping them understand some bits and pieces, and hoping that sometimes some of the phrases that they hear on a regular basis will be internalized, yeah, effortlessly. Like, for example, if you repeat some chunks, yeah, like I like using like full of awesome as a chunk to praise my students. So they can start using it too, because it's catchy, right? Some of the things might happen like that. Okay, right. So a couple of other theories from the past, yeah, what we used to rely on, and something perhaps that is still relevant for us. Obviously, yeah, a long time ago, people learned Latin, Greek, some other languages that they had to use basically as scientists for reading or writing purposes. So the audio, the oral form of the language was not very important, right? Which is why we used a variety of methods similar to grammar translation there, right? So we focused on rules, we read and translated things into our first language, we had some kind of lists of words there, and we would focus on accuracy all the time, right? Perhaps you can still find books related to grammar translation, yeah, relying on the principles of language translation. Yeah, grammar translation, sorry. Anyway, so what we are going to take from grammar translation, obviously, maybe some comparative analysis, yeah, it can help. That's how our learners can understand what is similar, what is different. Yeah. To be honest, grammar translation is still one of the most popular methods all over the world. It's not only in Russia or Kazakhstan or in USSR you've mentioned, yeah. It is still used in many countries. Like my friend is living in Germany now. She's learning German. What do you think? Which method they're using? Well, they don't translate too much because, you know, there are many different international students working and living there. But they're still using this kind of read and then think. So there is no reading task, for example, there. Or here is the rule. Now let's practice again. Yeah, grammar rules first. Deductive approach to learning. Yeah, that's what we take from grammar translation. Sometimes it's relevant. Sometimes it can work. And if you train interpreters or translators, perhaps it's even good to use L1. Why not? And controlled practice is extremely important, yeah, for building confidence. Now, of course, as an alternative of the focus on the written form and accuracy, well, accuracy is still there. Anyway, audio lingualists evolved, yeah, and I could see that some of you have mentioned that in the chat box. So here they considered that, as we remember, language is a set of habits and we want to promote good habits. So imitation, drilling, yeah, repeating in many different ways, with the music, without the music, after the teacher, on your own, chorally and individually, substitution drills, and so on and so forth. Many different drills. We are still using them. Why not? It's good. Yeah, so behind that, there are some theories from psychology, yeah, behaviorism, yeah. Unfortunately, this method is too teacher-centered. Yeah, it requires a lot of attention from the teacher, and the focus is still on accuracy. Yeah. You can use, of course, different recordings like listen and repeat, or you can use the teacher's model, yeah, your own model, and the students will repeat after you. Anyway, there are certain limitations here. And we can't focus on accuracy all the time. You can hear, you know, one of the phonemes is still imperfect, and you want to polish it. Yeah, you want go on. Yeah. It might be still effective. I totally agree. And to be honest, if accuracy is important, if you are training spies, perhaps this is the best method. Now, of course, we talk about teaching in a communicative way, right? What is behind the communicative approach? It's a kind of umbrella term, and there are many different methods, ways of teaching, techniques that we can use. There is kind of principled eclecticism there, yeah, that we've learned from different methods that we used in the past, sort of blindly, and now we know what they're like, and we know the benefits of each of them. So, first of all, we want to focus on our learners and their needs, and learners become more active in our classes. Secondly, meaning comes first. It's very important, which is why we focus on exposing students to different texts, models, yeah. If we use something useful, if our models are natural, they'll be picking up it in a natural way. And task-based instructions, or task-based learning, as you are typing in the chat box, becomes the core of the lesson plan, yeah? Because we'll be selecting certain activities with a communicative focus so that our students understand what they need this language for. Yeah, it's an authentic use of the language, or it's an element of that, yeah? It's a kind of illustration how language can be used in real-life situations. Exactly. We can also promote collaboration, peer teaching, and so on and so forth. And of course, our priority will be not only to focus on accuracy, but to build fluency as well. Yeah, developing fluency is at least of the same importance as accuracy. We can't stop developing as teachers, which is why we have a range of other theories appearing even now. Yeah, perhaps you've heard of some, and I'm highlighting some of the theories that appeared not so recently, but later, after. We call them the post-communicative teaching, just because they appeared later on, yeah, a little bit later on. Anyway, so quite a lot of things like functional approach. Yeah, we focus on teaching prefabricated chunks relevant for different situations. Yeah? So if you've heard of situational presentations, yeah, let's go to a cafe. What are you going to order? What would you like? Anything else? Things like that, right? The idea is to supply students with useful lexical chunks, right? And here we have a similar approach, lexical approach. One of the main principles is to focus not on single word items, but on bigger items, yeah, which consist of a couple of words or maybe a whole phrase, yeah, not necessarily the whole functional language, yeah, the whole exponent, the whole utterance, maybe just collocations, maybe a phrasal verb like a multi-word unit or something like that, yeah. Are you asking me about CLIL? CLIL is content and language integrated learning, right? That's another fantastic, I think, approach that we've talked about already. The key principles are, again, content. So we're teaching some kind of topic, maybe even subject in English, and that's why the learners are fascinated by the whole process. Like my trainee I was talking about, she ran a lesson on geography, talking about different countries. With that group of students, she experimented without any books, without even furniture there in the room. So it was with an element of CLIL, of course. So the key principles is content, culture, communication, and cognitive skills. So thinking skills should be promoted as well, developing those. Now, remember, in grammar translation, we would give students rules. We would explain them explicitly and then put them into practice. Now, here on the slide, you can see inductive approach. And by inductive, we mean students will be working out the rules themselves. They will look at some examples. Perhaps they will have some prompts with questions or some kind of grids that are incomplete, and they have to figure out what the language is used for, how it is used, and so on and so forth. So an element of guided discovery is a good illustration of the inductive approach. Okay, any questions about the terms I'm highlighting here? Because these terms, they belong more to Model 1, but the choice of the principles, techniques, theories will be important for our lesson planning today, because we are preparing for Model 2. So that's one of the connections, of course. And then dogma is the approach suggested by Scott Thornberry and Luke Meddings. You can find their book, Teaching Unplugged. It's the main idea is, again, not to rely on course books, but to run material light lessons without course books. Based on your students' needs, there will be an element of task-based learning there quite often, and you deal with emergent needs. So you run conversation-driven lessons there. Okay, awesome. So if you are interested in any of the methods, find out more about them. I have given you already quite a few books where you can find more about them, and perhaps one of them is 30 Teaching Methods by Scott Thornberry. That's a concise summary of all their approaches. So going back to some tips, what you can actually do to prepare for TKT so that you can pass it with flying colors. Band 4, we are aiming at band 4, or at least band 3. But of course, band 4 is manageable if you read a lot and if you reflect a lot. So one of the things that you can do, 30 teaching methods, exactly. So one of the books, we can add to the list. Now, another book, I mentioned it the other time. Now here, you can see it again. Essential Teacher Knowledge by Jeremy Harmer. Well, actually, if you find any book by Jeremy Harmer, I think you'll like it. There are a lot of practical tips, recommendations, examples. So it's just, sounds like dogma, exactly. That's the, it comes from filming, actually, this term. You can read more about Teaching Unplugged. So what I suggest doing, so whatever the book you found useful for your TKT preparation, take notes. Like in this book, I can find some practical examples. Or this book gives me the most important information about the terminology I have to know. Or this book is about language awareness. I need to focus more on chapter this and that, and so on. So I'm giving you just a few ideas how. I agree that Jeremy Harmer's books are for inexperienced teachers mainly. But honestly, if you haven't read the book, it will be useful for any teacher. And then in Essential Teacher Knowledge, there is a DVD, so you can find a lot of videos of different teachers, with some ideas for the classroom. So people like it. Okay. So another tip, go to Cambridge English website and find all the materials you can download. Yeah, and that's basically your starting point. Yeah, we are talking about Module 2. So you find that button, you click on it, you'll get the sample test. Yeah. Don't forget that there is a glossary. Yeah, and please download it and make sure you know all the terms from the glossary, because if you get stuck with one of the words, yeah, it may affect your whole performance. Yeah, then some other tips. As a practitioner, you use a lot of activities on a regular basis. Create a list of useful activities, but also include when you use them, how you use them, what you like about them. So include some kind of analytical comments, yeah, evaluative comments, so that it helps you reflect. And then in a test, when you see a similar task, it'll be clear right away. Yeah, what's that for? What's the aim, and so on. Yeah, so those are the most important sources for you: the handbook, sample papers, and glossary. And focusing on Module 2, remember, for each module, you are given 80 minutes, and you'll be you'll be answering 80 questions. Yeah. So 1 minute per question, that's not much. That means you'll have to know the answers in advance. And the task types are the same as in Module 1, but there is one difference. Yeah, we are also sometimes asked to sequence activities. It will look as matching. So basically you have some kind of procedure, some stages are highlighted and some stages are gapped. Yeah, you will have to match and find the missing bits and pieces. Maybe you'll be asked to match the aims of each stage to the stages themselves, or something like that. Yeah. The total score, of course, will affect the overall band. I would say that you have to answer like 85% of the questions correctly to be awarded band 4. But usually what happens there, they collect all the answers, all the responses, yeah, from all over the world, and then they evaluate them, analyze them, and then they decide, okay, so out of 80 questions, if we have like 72 answers there, it'll be band 4, yeah, and above, obviously, yeah. Up to 65, it'll be band 3 or something like that. So basically they have to decide it later on. There is no such a thing like this band will be up to 70 questions or something. Yeah, I would say that, I would reveal that if we knew. Yeah, so you need to aim at answering as many questions as possible correctly, of course. Yeah, there will be some mistakes, that's okay. If you don't make too many mistakes, yeah, you'll be awarded a high band. Now let's focus on lesson planning. So I have a question, well, not a question, a sentence stem. So how would you finish? Planning can help a teacher. What? With the lesson objectives, okay. To manage the classroom, yes, to feel confident, yeah, during the lesson, yeah, with time management, very good. Yeah, to manage time, to organize everything, yeah. To be confident, absolutely. Yeah, maybe to achieve goals later on, yeah. To be more productive, good. Yeah, hopefully you mean students will be more productive, yeah. Yeah, choose hands-on activity, that's interesting. Okay, something practical you mean, yeah. To give reflection, good, yes. So that's how you can evaluate the success of the lesson, having planned something, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, okay, a lot of people are saying that, yeah, lesson planning is essential, of course. That's how you can achieve your aims. Yeah, great. I have a few quotes, though. So first of all, planning can help alleviate the stress of teaching, because many teachers are scared. Like, you work with teenagers, you know how naughty they can be, right? They're not organized. They may ask some questions and you don't know the answers for those. So if you've planned what to do, even you anticipated quite a lot of problems and you know the answers to most of the questions, yeah, you've come up with, you'll feel a lot more confident. Absolutely, yeah. Some teachers say, like the green quote, planning lessons with experience. To be honest, I'm quite an experienced teacher, so I still spend a lot of time on planning my lessons. It's not just, understanding the principles behind the materials, it's creating my own materials. Yeah, quite often I build up my lessons from authentic sources based on some authentic texts. I need to come up with the topic, I need to come up with the level of challenge, task type, everything. It takes time, right? So the more you know, perhaps the more questions will appear. Yeah, the more challenges will be there. Yeah, okay, yeah. Sometimes we can use books and sometimes we can design our own plans. Absolutely, yeah. Anyway, planning is essential, yeah. If you know the subject well, perhaps you're not focusing too much on how to analyze language or clarify it, yeah, because you're quite confident there. Perhaps you'll be planning more on task design, anticipating problems and things like that. Yeah, maybe a variety of activities, especially if you work with young learners and you have to entertain them, keep them motivated all the time and things like that. Yeah, right. Yeah, designing, exactly. I like the term designing. Yeah, that's what we want to do, right? Okay. And finally, the black quote is something that I really like. Having planned something, of course, we understand how beneficial it is for us and everything, but having planned it, don't stick to the plan. Don't follow it blindly. Try to respond to your learners, right? And if you see your learners, they're stuck or they're puzzled or they want to talk more, yeah, you have to find this kind of flexibility, this kind of energy to expand tasks that work well, yeah, and to skip certain activities for later use maybe, or shorten something else, yeah, because this is where learning is actually happening, yeah, and that's when you can collect information about the learning needs, yeah. All right, awesome, so we all agree. Now let's have a look at some metaphors. Yeah, to be honest, this is not my idea. I found it a long time ago in one of the books for teachers, what it's called, A Course in English Language Teaching by Penny Earp. And I got fascinated because I like metaphors. I think a lesson is actually, well, first of all, I usually say a lesson is a menu. There should be a set of options for both yourself and students, yeah? So you have options, like if the students like the topic, we'll do it this way. If they don't find the topic appealing, I can spend a bit longer for the lead-in to motivate them, to prepare them for the following tasks, right? And then the next activity will be slightly different because, of course, you'll be running out of time and you need to set your priorities somehow. But anyway, there should be different options there, right? Then, do you agree that a lesson is a kind of ceremony? Like in a wedding, we have certain roles, yeah? At the beginning, you are in charge, you're introducing the topic, yeah? You are sort of helping students there, like in class, yeah, and so on. And then they have to take up different roles themselves, yeah, being active participants, maybe becoming like a bride and a groom there, or being the host of that wedding or something like that, yeah. So if we think metaphorically, it helps, again, reflection, of course, and probably coming up with some ideas how to entertain the students, how to keep them motivated, and how to find other perspectives during the lesson. Does it make sense? So which metaphor would you choose? Yeah, have a look. Obviously, the list is endless. Maybe you have some other suggestions. A game. I like it because without an element of fun, the learners won't feel motivated, right? Climbing a mountain, of course, it requires a lot of effort. A TV show, oh, nice. Menu, yeah. Okay, a question. Yeah, options. Remember, there are options. We can choose. Like quite often, especially when I run classes for one-to-ones, yeah, individual lessons, for individual learners, I often ask, look, what we have to do in this model is this, this, and that. What would you like to start with? It's a simple trick, but the student feels that their interests are considered. Yeah, they're more motivated. And also, of course, they understand it's a kind of trick because they'll have to do some other activities as well, but at least they can start with something they like. Yeah, exactly. It becomes like a game. Yeah, good. Yeah, okay. Conversation-driven lessons, we've talked about that. So yeah, hopefully everything makes sense. Even eating a meal, if you think about that, how enjoyable it is. Yeah, we are sort of, we're exposed to different flavors, different tastes, smells, yeah, everything. And that, what we want from our lessons, yeah, we want our learners to feel that they've had fun, yeah, they've enjoyed different experiences, things like that, yeah. Yeah, Simon says, okay, lots of games that you have in mind. Yeah, okay, right. Okay, so that's something to include into our lessons. But having considered the metaphors, let's come up seriously with some functions of a lesson, what we want in a lesson, yeah? Not only an element of fun, but fun will be included, yeah? It should be an enjoyable experience. Maybe something new. You want to give students some information, right? So first of all, a lesson is a goal-oriented effort. So it's not like useless activities. Yeah, it's not something just for the sake of having fun. It should be meaningful fun, right? So we have an aim and we want to achieve it. We want our students to interact with each other. We want them to cooperate and collaborate. And that's how they're already using English, yeah, which is our goal. We want a positive atmosphere. That comes from behaviorism, if you want, right? From different psychologists. We want our learners to like it. We want to promote their intrinsic motivation. And hopefully they'll be learning better because their level of anxiety will go down, they will feel at ease, and that facilitates memory, of course. Okay, so we've talked about options and choices and a variety of activities, so that seems pretty obvious. A role-based culture, remember a wedding, we take different roles, or a TV show, for example, yeah, who is the host? Yeah, who is in charge of the whole thing? Who'll be asking questions, yeah, and so on and so forth. And of course, we can invite students to take different roles too. And if they understand the procedures, they're likely to be more confident, yeah, in the lesson. Like, for example, young learners, they need a set of routines so that they can trust, yeah, they're not afraid, they're not scared to go into the room. They know that at first, they'll be asked, how are you? And it's okay, it's coming, soothing, yeah? And then they will be doing something active, perhaps on the carpet or something else. So if they're aware of what's going to happen, it's likely to be more effective. Okay, now, so the next slide will contain some principles, what we need to keep in mind when we plan our lesson. Okay, so first I want to elicit from you what you think. Type in your ideas in the chat box. What will contribute to producing a good lesson plan. Aims, okay. Where does your aim come from? How do I identify your aims? Students level, good, I like it, yeah. Students' needs, absolutely right. Their goals, their aims and objectives, yeah, that's the first thing. Topic, okay, that's great. So we keep in mind some areas of their interest, I guess. Yeah, the resources are available, of course. Yeah, syllabus, I think you mean. Yeah, time, yeah, absolutely. Again, time and even space available. Yeah, if you know you have a very tiny room, so tiny, very tiny is exaggeration, but I remember working in like room of 4 square meters or something with 10 teenagers. It was awful. But I knew that I can't do anything like mingling, yeah, or running dictation or anything of that kind because, you know, the space wasn't available at all. Yeah. Yeah, okay, right. So there will be, of course, a couple of other things I'm going to remind you of. So first of all, the principles of learning, how learning might happen. So perhaps we know certain lesson procedures. Like if you run a lesson on reading, there will be, remember, certain stages that we keep in mind. Yeah, and key functions like a lead-in to motivate students, yeah, and consolidation at the end of the lesson, and something like co-activities in the middle of it. Yeah. So yes, aims, as you were saying, that's my second bullet point. Other lesson plan components, we're going to mention them in a moment. Different activities and how to sequence them so that the level of challenge is increasing and the students are prepared for the following task and so on. Yeah, the materials available, you've mentioned that. Then how this lesson is connected to the previous one, or maybe connected with some of the following lessons, right? And then how students will be interacting. Do you need any pieces of furniture or you can get rid of them? And then again, choosing assessment activities because that's what you want. Yeah, you want to make sure students got it. You want to collect information about that. Or you have to identify gaps in knowledge. So constant and continuous assessment is also going to be involved. So let me give you a hint. Yeah, whatever the lesson you're planning to do, it's likely to fall into this pattern. So first, there is some kind of example. Maybe you're telling a short anecdote. Maybe you're showing a short video. Maybe you ask students to read something like a quote, a citation, a short text. Maybe they'll be listening to a recording. Yeah. Then you will check understanding of the context, of course. And then probably you'll highlight some language that we can take from that text, yeah, from the examples given, helping students notice the language, helping them understand it, and build confidence, saying it, using it, clarifying not only meaning, but how to say it, pronunciation, and also form, like some kind of patterns. Like, for example, when you teach certain verbs, perhaps you can clarify how they can be used in combination with other verbs, yeah, verb patterns. Or if you teach nouns, if it is countable or uncountable, and do we have to use it in a plural form or in a singular form? Whatever, yeah, just depends on the language from the text. You can talk about grammar, yeah, teaching the passive voice, and then you'll be probably clarifying that the passive voice is frequently used in written texts. We don't often use it in spoken discourse. And then, of course, you want students to start using it. So you'll be pushing them, you'll be giving them a nudge by giving some gap fill activities, some matching tasks, and so on, because it's easier to start using things like that, yeah, if they're unfamiliar with the language. And hopefully towards the end of the lesson, there will be a task with a communicative focus, and the students will be happy to demonstrate what they've learned. Yeah, more talking. Exactly. More talking at the end of the lesson, right? Because they're ready. They've picked up different things from the model, from your clarification, from controlled practice. Now they are ready. Things like that. So if it is a lesson on reading, we'll focus on understanding more. Yeah, this will be our core stage, which will consist probably of 2 reading tasks, reading for gist and reading for specific information or in detail. If it is a lesson on speaking, of course, our priority is to extend the final task as much as possible, keeping some other stages shorter, like maybe getting rid of practice at all, because they'll be practicing anyway, yeah, but giving them a model, exposing them to a similar conversation at the end, and so on, yeah. If it is a lesson on grammar, noticing and practicing will be our priority, because this is what you do in lessons on systems, right? But this is a very logical sequence of stages anyway, for whatever the lesson you'll be teaching. Yeah, it's quite clear and straightforward, hopefully. So if you're ready, we are going to do a sample task. On the right, you can see 8 stages. Obviously, they are not in order. What we need to do is to identify the order. So have a look, spend some time reading, and then type in your ideas in the chat box. What do you think will be the next stage? Because the first one is done, it's A. Okay, some people are saying that number 1 will be D. You're absolutely right. Let's move on. What's number 2 then? So we are focusing on pre-teaching some vocabulary. D and H, they go together. Absolutely right. Awesome. So what will be the 3rd stage then? Okay, I don't see the correct answer yet. Okay, well done. Someone has mentioned B. Awesome. B, reading for gist. Yeah, so having come up with some predictions, yeah, we are asking students to to read the text and check them. Good. Awesome. Okay, what comes after reading for gist? Absolutely right. Yeah, a set of comprehension questions to focus on detailed understanding, yeah, and to collect information about students' comprehension. Perfect. Okay, what will be the 5th stage? Yeah, reading, obviously. So we've just set the second reading task, clarified some of the things there, and then they're ready to do it. Yeah, they'll be reading. What happens next? This is quite a sophisticated stage, right? So we need to give students a chance not only to read and check with the right answers, but probably to discuss exactly. And many of you are saying that they'll be checking in pairs afterwards. Perfect. And yeah, to finish up, we have 2 more stages. Yeah, what will be at the end of the lesson? They'll be speaking, right? They'll be speaking, they'll be retelling stories, or maybe you can set up a discussion activity, yeah, relevant to the content of the text, because you are still sort of collecting information about their comprehension. Yeah, so that's a typical lesson on reading. There is nothing surprising here. Some of the stages are optional. Yeah, which of them do you think are optional? Which of them we can skip or shorten, depending on your students' level, needs, and so on. Which of the stages we can skip or shorten? Pair work? No, I wouldn't agree. I would probably keep pair work and add pair work in the previous stages. C. Without reading comprehension, we can't check comprehension. Can we? Productive stage? No, I would keep production. H. Yes, actually, vocabulary clarification can be shortened or skipped at all. Yeah, just because sometimes your students. Yeah, brainstorming can be also be shorter. Yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, so if the students can cope with the gist reading activity, you don't need to help them much to prepare them. There is nothing to prepare them for. They can cope. However, usually before reading for specific information, you can anticipate some problems and you can just check understanding of some of the things. Yeah. Right. Awesome. Okay. So having clarified that, let's move on. Let's talk about the lesson plan components. First, let's brainstorm. So what are the lesson plan components? Lesson aims. What else? What do we include in our lesson plan? Lead-in. Okay. Yeah, lead-in is one of the stages. It's always there. I agree. Outcomes. Okay. Yeah. Aims, objectives, outcomes. Good. Yeah, maybe a warming up activity, which is also optional. Remember, your lead-in can be a nice warming up activity, but in the topic of the lesson. Yeah, the procedure. Yeah, different tasks. Either practice or reading. That depends on the lesson framework and the aim of the lesson, of course. Yeah. Yeah, timing. Interaction patterns. Yeah. Yeah, activities you're saying, grammar rules, maybe grammar codification if necessary. Yeah. Yeah, wrapping up. Yeah, at the end, assessment. Good ideas. Yeah. So what I have here. Yeah. In a typical lesson plan, you would probably include those things. Yeah. Some of the things might not be necessary, like for your educational establishments. I don't know if you're asked to write a lesson plan at all. But for CELTA and Delta trainees, we usually ask them to create a lesson plan, highlighting their aims, class profile, what they know about the learners, how this lesson is connected with other lessons. Yeah, like if there is a kind of connection to one of the previous lessons or one of the lessons that they'll be teaching later on. Yeah, what assumptions they can make. Yeah, and anticipated problems again. Can they come up with some solutions, or they're not well prepared? Like if it is a lesson on writing and they want, quite often our teachers want to use some kind of online tool to collect students' text, let's say Padlet or Jamboard or something else. You need to anticipate some technical problems because some students might not follow the link, they may not find it, they may not get access to that tool, or something else might happen, right? Or just the internet connection will be shaky and they won't be able to do anything actively. Yeah, again, so many things can be anticipated. Materials, yeah, like what you're going to use. If it comes from the book, great, but sometimes you create things and so on. So you've mentioned all of them. Yeah, awesome. So I have a set of tips for teachers. First of all, be clear about what you want to achieve. What's that about? What do we state at the beginning, like of your lesson plan, or before the lesson starts? You consider that aims, of course. Yeah. So A is about aims. How about B? What's that about? make notes. What learners know and can do. What's that? Assumptions, exactly. So that this is something reliable, something that can help you in the lesson. So probably the students are aware of some basic vocabulary items related to the topic. Yeah, maybe they know the grammar, but just they studied only the first meaning of the present simple, and this time they are focusing on another one. Yeah, so the form is familiar, something like that. Right, now background knowledge, exactly, yeah, or previous knowledge. Now what C is about? Okay, so I can see Ksenia is suggesting using some revision activities at the beginning instead of just following the course book materials blindly. Of course, point C, and one more point is not a good tip, not a good idea at all. Yeah, which other thing we can correct here? There is something else. Yeah, so we've got, yeah, C, of course, is incorrect. We can't, yeah, and F, yeah, very good. So we can't start teaching just from the point, yeah, we've stopped at. Yeah, absolutely. There will be some kind of revision. There will be some kind of reference, context setting, whatever. Yeah, I don't know what interrupted you previously in the previous lesson, but again, you need to start again, yeah, properly. Another thing, of course, perhaps you'll be changing the order of the things. Yeah, you don't have to follow it. There might be some kind of unpredictable thing, yeah, that you can introduce at the beginning. Instead of taking the next page, you can ask students to look at the end of the module, yeah, and do some, for example, revision, yeah, or maybe you can turn a PPP type of lesson into TTT and you can test them first. Yeah, but again, not following course book materials blindly, not at all. But this is the procedure, basically, yeah? We are choosing materials and writing a procedure. How about D? What's this? What's the component? Yeah, teacher can be a conductor. Yeah, that's true. One of the roles. So D is about being ready to clarify language, yeah, some kind of language analysis, maybe collocations, yeah, topic-related vocabulary or something, yeah, exactly. Then getting task in a logical order is our procedure, yeah. There is nothing you can do about things that go wrong in a lesson. What's this about? I crossed it out, obviously. We need to do what? Be flexible. We need to anticipate what may go wrong, and we need to be ready. We need to have some exactly anticipate problems. We need to come up with some ideas, yeah, create some kind of activities and keep them up your sleeve in case something goes wrong. Yeah, you don't have time for this, but we can do a shorter version of this activity, yeah, or quite the opposite, yeah. If students are really keen, you can continue, and then you know how to finish the lesson, yeah, at this stage, and so on. And then interaction patterns is G, and what is H? Time management, yes, okay, so timing, good. Right, so let's focus on the lesson aims. Here you can see a kind of mind map. What will be there? What do you think I'll be highlighting in a moment? What types of lesson aims can we consider? We are focusing on terminology, of course, related to lesson planning here. So what springs to mind? Let me know. Learning skills. Okay, skills or systems. Yes, exactly. Subsidiary aims. Good. Yeah, I wanted to list the types of aims. So we have main lesson aims, subsidiary aims, personal aims, and stage aims. So if you want to run a lesson on skills, then one of the subsidiary aims is likely to be on systems, yeah, maybe vocabulary, maybe functional language, yeah, and vice versa, yeah. They often go back to back, but we need to set our priorities. Now, here I show you some definitions. I'm showing you some definitions on the slide. They come from the glossary, TKT glossary. So what types of aims can you identify here? Like what the teacher wants to achieve, yeah? What's that? That's just a name, yeah? That's the general definition. How about number 2, the most important aim, main aim? Yes, okay. How about the aim or purpose of a stage, step, section of the lesson, like control practice or listening for gist? Yes, that's clear. That's a stage aim. Okay, what's the next one? Secondary, educational, subscription. Oh my God. Subsidiary, yes. Okay, that's a sub-aim. How about number 5? Personal, yes. Right, something that you set up as your goal for professional development. Yeah, what you want to improve. Okay. Number 6 is a little bit tricky, so read it carefully. Try to come up with an idea. Objective, very good. Yes, yeah, they're more specific, more goal-oriented things. And finally, by the end of the lesson, what do we call that? Someone has mentioned that previously in the chat box. Also start with an O. Outcome, exactly. Yeah, we often use the future perfect to talk about that. By the end of the lesson, the students will have discussed blah blah blah, yeah, or something. Will have built confidence, yeah, will have read the text, and so on. Good. Okay, just to give you a hint what aims might look like, because sometimes you are asked to identify whether it is a main aim or a sub-aim or it's an outcome by doing a matching task. So here you can see some examples. So the main aim, for example, is reading. What we want to see there is sub-skills. If you see something like to help students practice reading for gist, it's likely to be a stage aim, right? Or it might be one of the sub-aims, of course, if it's like a lesson on systems. We want to see the context of the lesson. We want to get a hint on the sub-skills. And if it's like language, then what type of language we'll be teaching. What type of practice you'll be giving. Yeah, so the more specific, the better. Can we state main aims as outcomes? Is it possible? Yeah, you can use Bloom's taxonomy. Why not? Yeah, of course. Yeah. And, you know, anyway, it's a kind of cycle, yeah, reflective cycle. So you've stated the aims, then you experimented, yeah, then you reflected on that, and you do another round, yeah, improving some of the things there. Reducing teacher talking time, yeah, providing clear instructions. What other personal aims do you identify and state for yourselves? Could you share with me some personal aims? Yeah, cold cycle. Yeah, good. Yeah. Not to forget to nominate some weak students. Good. Yeah, maybe not at the beginning of the stage, but towards the middle of it when they're ready. Yeah, time management. Yeah, you know, time management is an issue for all teachers, especially in online settings, in my opinion. Yeah, and experienced teachers usually have a lot of ideas. Yeah, so what I do, because I'm not very good at time management, I anticipate some problems. I like to be well prepared, and I plan 2 steps ahead. And I have plenty of extra materials. Like in my slides, you will always find lots of pages at the end, yeah, that we haven't discussed yet, but it gives you a hint what we can also include there. And it gives me a chance to make use of the time allocated for our webinars as well. Yeah, so it's a kind of hint. Yeah, fast finishes, extra tasks. Yeah, probably with extra tasks is a little bit challenging because you can't give feedback on 2 activities at the same time. If fast finishers started doing something else, you have to give feedback on their task too, but also entertain those who have just done something else. Yeah, so it's kind of not well recommended, but expanding activities, tweaking them a little bit. Now think of your own example, or which statements are true for you, or you know what, I think you have one of the answers incorrect. Find it. Yeah, so you still give them some kind of challenge, but you're not giving another activity. Yeah, differentiated activities. Yeah, that can help too. Awesome. All right, so here is a sample task. We've got matching here. On the right, you have different aims. Yeah, and what type of aims they are. So have a look, take some time. When you're ready, type in your ideas in the chat box. The first one is C. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like that. Absolutely. I agree. Yeah, a revision is likely to be a stage aim or a sub aim. Very good. Okay. So the main aim is likely to be the most developed. It'll be explicitly stated, right? Others might be shorter, less explicit, just a hint of what else is going to happen, right? Which is why 4 is not likely to be B, but it can be 4A. Yes, yeah, some people agree with me. Okay, good. Yeah. It might be a little bit subjective, of course, but you know, again, you are setting your priorities, and the main aim should be well stated. It should be as specific as possible. What's the skill? What's the sub-skill? What's the activity? What's the context? Everything is there. No, 4 is not B. Are you listening to me? 4 is A. I'm showing you the answers on the right. Can you see that? Okay, awesome, awesome. We all agree. Good. Yes, 4 is A. Good. Awesome. Okay, now going back to the strategies. Remember, we can't do too many things at the same time. Yeah, you know, there are 2 terms, multitasking and multi-switching. So basically, if you're looking at all the options left and right at the same time, you're confused what you're matching. And that's why 4B can happen, because you're not focused. But if you focus on one side at a time, it'll be easier. So let's have a look at the aims and come up with our ideas for the activities. So the first aim is to recycle language. What activities can we use for revision, recycle, consolidation? Brainstorming, yes, very good, of course. Yeah, you can create a mind map or ask students to create posters. What else? Interview, oh, nice, I like it. Yeah, different speaking activities, yeah, topic relevant. A snowball game, great, yes. Different types of quizzes, yeah, also possible, yeah. Jigsaw activity, I'm not so sure. It is particularly useful for recycling language. Riddles, yes. Kahoot, good. Crosswords, absolutely right. Awesome. Okay. Let's now brainstorm what can be done for developing predicting. Yeah. So what do we do? Using pictures. Yeah. Some question prompts. Yeah. Pictures are popular, of course. Guessing game. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, creating that kind of sense of suspense. Yeah. Yeah. Leading. Absolutely. That can be part of your leading. Yeah. A situation. Yeah. Keywords. Maybe. Yeah. Have a look at the words. They come from the text. What do you think the text is likely to be about? Absolutely right. Half of a sentence. Why not? Yeah. Great ideas. Awesome. Okay, and we haven't brainstormed how to pre-teach vocabulary, but obviously you know some of the ideas. So let's look at the activities. It's a matching task, remember. Okay. Okay, some people have already started typing the answers. So you have to match the activities 1 and 2 to the aims A, B, C. So many people are saying number 1 is A, and I totally agree with you. And yeah, the second one is C. Yeah, so one of the ideas I think we had watching a video, yeah, there. Great, awesome. Okay, so I think it's easier when you create your own list of activities, and then it's easier to match, yeah, and identify the aims. It can go the other way around, yeah, so I'm showing you the answers. Yeah, we can start by looking at the activity, of course. And here are 2 other activities. Now think about the aims of each of them. So let's look at number 1. Why would we use listening to the recording and putting the pictures in order? What will be the aim? What will be the aim of this activity? To predict. If you listen already, it's not predictions, it may be checking prediction. Yes, comprehension. That will be listening comprehension, of course. Okay, have a look at number 2. You ask students to listen and identify the words that are stressed. What's the aim of the second one? Yes, focus on vocabulary, language, pronunciation, phonology, lots of great ideas. Yeah, absolutely right. Now we can have a look at the aims. Let's match them quickly. You're well prepared? Okay, awesome. Yeah, so this is it. Yeah, as simple as that. Of course, in a real task, yeah, you will have more activities. Yeah, maybe there will be more aims highlighted for you. Sometimes you have like nearly the same number of aims and activities, but there will be one odd one out, yeah, that you won't have to use. Or it might be multiple matching. So 3 aims are highlighted, but you have like 8 activities or something around that. Okay, so we've talked about terminology. I showed you some definitions. Now, can you define the terms yourselves? So what is an assumption? Who can give me a definition? What do we use assumptions for? A guess, very good. Yeah, a kind of prediction. Yeah, that's your opinion, understanding of your learners. Yeah, their background knowledge, previous knowledge, quite often. Yeah, or their attitude, experience to the attitude to the topic, or experiences someone is saying. Yeah, absolutely, great. What is a class profile? Yes, so it's a description, a summary of what our learners are like and their needs, their interests, age, level will be there. Absolutely right. The more specific, the better. Maybe their preferences in terms of the topic, their needs, like weaknesses and strengths. Yeah, good. Differentiation. What's that about? A variety of activities, yeah, appropriate for different levels, yeah, different students' needs, yeah. There might be some shy students, yeah, there might be weaker students, there might be those who are eager to participate creatively, and those who are focusing on accuracy, things like that. So you create different activities for them. Good. How about teaching aids? Yeah, we can use some technical aids, handouts, textbooks, yeah, either a whiteboard or a blackboard or an interactive board you can use, even a cork board, yeah, I quite like putting things, yeah, pinning them to the wall. Yeah. Teacher itself, yeah, we are, and our students can be our teaching aids too, yeah, especially if you teach something like parts of the body, that can be handy. Very good, amazing. So here I'm showing you the definitions. Again, they come from TKT glossary, and that's what basically what you have to do, yeah, how to work with the glossary. Quite often you are asked to match certain things or answer multiple choice questions. So terminology is really essential there. So another tip, start a reflective diary. Like today, having watched the webinar, yeah, I've learned and take notes, yeah, of a couple of things that you've learned, some of the terms, some of the tips that you found useful. Hopefully, yeah, it'll help. And then going over the notes, yeah, you can tick the boxes exactly. So I've done that. I need to focus more on, I don't know, dogma principles. Yeah. So, and then you can go back and tick that box when it's done. So let's do a categorizing activity. As teachers, we are interested on collecting information about our learners, some kind of needs analysis. We are also interested in creating a collection of useful tasks, and perhaps we use different procedures in our lessons. So let's focus on the column in the middle. I'll show you all the answers, but now I want to see task types. Use the chat box. What task types can you see here on the list? Like ranking is one of them. Comparing, fantastic. Discussions, yeah. Yeah, a discussion can be seen as a procedure as well, but yes, okay. Good. What else? Workshop. Workshop, again, looks like a procedure. But yeah, you got the idea. Yeah, the more the better. Case studies. Nice. Okay, so here I'm showing you my idea, yeah, of what task types might be. Yeah, and I'm showing you quite a few things, yeah, like adapting certain things. For example, you ask the students to read a text, like a report about school facilities, and you ask them to adjust it to their school environment, like producing a similar report based on their findings. And of course, they can take that model and adjust a little bit, yeah. You can also show them a text with some mistakes, yeah, some kind of text that is still imperfect, and you want to improve it somehow, and then they'll be making it impeccable, yeah, and that'll be a huge achievement for them, yeah. You may ask students to rearrange something, for example, task types, procedures, data can be mixed up, yeah, and then you will ask them to categorize them. So by doing these tasks, their cognitive skills will be also under, in the focus of your attention. You'll be helping them develop those, yeah. But I'm also showing different procedures that are useful for lessons. For example, instead of just running a lesson as a typical lesson of yours, you can turn it into a workshop, yeah, or maybe experiment a little bit with running a debate. Or using case studies. Actually, case study can be seen as a task type. Yeah, I totally agree with some of you. Okay, awesome. So task types. We include many different activities in our lessons, and the aims might be different. One of the aims is to develop cognitive skills. So I've just illustrated that. Now, what do you need to know about your learners? How do we plan our lessons? What information we need? So you've mentioned quite a few things: level, age, their interests. That's what a class profile might look like. Yeah, that's what it might be like. Also, their punctuality. You haven't mentioned that, but it might be important, especially if you work for a private school. Yeah, that might be a frequent case, or you work with corporate clients. Some areas of strength and some areas of weaknesses, yeah, like what they like, what they're good at, things like that. Yeah, age range might be important. If you have quite a lot of teenagers, yeah, the choice of topics is easier. If you have a mixture, sometimes you don't know what to choose, yeah, like how to cater for different needs. Yeah, level, yeah, exactly, those things. Okay, so that's something to consider. And anticipated problems. Let's focus on anticipated problems, because the more we anticipate, the better we are prepared for our lessons. Yeah. So what might go wrong? Give me your ideas first. No, yes, exactly. So the internet connection is too poor. Yes, okay. So cut down. Sleepy students. Oh my God. Oh no, tantrums. Yeah, time. Many people are saying time. Yeah. Motivation. Yeah. 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 So they're not interested, or they lose interest right away. Yeah. Having discussed it briefly for a couple of minutes. What can be done? Yeah. Yeah. Concentration. Yeah. That is particularly relevant for young learners. But nowadays, I feel even adult learners often lose concentration. Everyone is so tired, seem exhausted. Maybe this is, in this time of the year, right? Towards the end of winter, everyone is so exhausted. Yeah, some students are hyperactive. Yeah, again, if we talk about young learners, teenagers, and so on. Yeah, okay, TikTok. Yeah, I know. Some distractors. Yeah, they will be distractors. Okay, so we've anticipated quite a lot of problems. I have my own list, but honestly, I like your ideas. So for example, let's talk about the students who might be distracted by their mobile phones, gadgets, TikTok videos, or something else. What can we do? How can we solve this problem? What do we do with distractors? Yep, class contract can help, I agree. Yeah, involve them in different interactive activities, collect their phones. Yeah, I remember we used to have a box in our school, yeah, and I would go around and collect. Well, to be honest, I didn't do that much many times, just because I didn't have to. So yeah, more engaging activities and some kind of role model. Yeah, not using your your phone during the lesson can help. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, those things. Yeah, absolutely. So let's have a look at some other ideas. What might go wrong? Yeah, the topic is not appealing. Yeah, what do we do? You've mentioned a similar thing. What do we do? How can we solve this problem? Yeah, okay, change some of the things, right? maybe a better lead-in, an interactive one, game-like, yeah, fun-like, yeah, absolutely. So I remember running a lesson on some environmental issues or something for teenagers, and the topic seems dull, seriously, especially for this group of tired kids, yeah, those who come after school and they have to take another extra activity and so on. Anyway, so I just used authentic materials there. I just changed their course book activities completely. I didn't follow course book at that stage, and we worked with an authentic text from I think Greenpeace website or something. And what I liked about that, there were some clear sections there, so it was really cool in terms of task design. It's easy to create a task if you can see clear sections. There are accompanying pictures, there are subtitles, yes, some headings. And the first thing I came up with was using pictures. The second thing, matching the paragraphs with their headings. And then there was a lot of discussion there, what else they wanted to read. And I gave them options, which paragraphs they want to continue reading. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, also, raising the interest, exactly, yeah. So generating interest is a must. Now, let's look at number 2. Till the students are much stronger. Yeah, they may dominate. They may interrupt other students, give additional tasks. Remember, if you give them an extra task, you won't be able to give feedback on both the task that other students are doing and the task they're completing. Yeah, make them assistants. I like this. Yeah, helping others. Yeah, it might be actually unfair, and other people may think that they're neglected somehow, that they're weaker and so on, and we don't want them to feel like that. So maybe it will be a kind of rota basis. Yeah, today you are responsible, next time someone else, or you can group them, like one student is in charge of a group of other students, yeah, something like that. And there are different groups, so more students are involved. Yeah, so occasionally they can run some parts of the lesson. Yeah, they can change groups. Exactly, that can change the dynamics. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. So technical aids, connection, applications that you're using, the link is broken, whatever, what might happen? Use creativity. Yeah, okay, yeah. I would say to have a backup plan. Yeah, have another activity, similar activity up your sleeve without using technology. Like if it's a listening task, some teachers start reading out the script themselves. You can ask one of the students actually to read it out. Yeah. Maybe using your mobile phone, not the whatever the recording equipment you are using, yeah, or something else. Yeah, just a couple of things. Anyway, some tasks may take too long. What can be done? Shorten them. How? How can we shorten them? Different task types, yeah. Divide them into sections, very good, yeah. So for example, you can say, we are going to do at least 5 of the sentences, yeah. Let's imagine there are 10 given, yeah. So you can say, choose 5 or do at least from 1 to 5, yeah, something like that. Yeah. And then again, stronger students can finish the whole thing, while weaker students are still coping with the allocated task. Yeah, very good. Okay, feedback may be unclear. Well, to be honest, this is something weird. Yeah. You need to anticipate that and come up with some relevant feedback techniques, but still, yeah. what can be done? You can see that the students are looking at you with a puzzled face, yeah, expression on their faces. So what do we do? Feedback. Yeah, exactly. So basically you need to respond to their needs. Yeah, if you see they're not convinced, yeah, you turn it into another activity, you make it explicit. Yeah, you can ask them to redo exercises. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. So you have already finished. Yeah. Okay. Now here is this worksheet again. Start from scratch. Okay. That's cruel. Yeah. Okay. Yes, various types of feedback. Yeah. So using a variety of feedback techniques. Absolutely right. Turning your feedback into a game. So you still reinforce learning, but you're not repeating some kind of clarification. Yeah, very good. So that's how we can promote peer teaching and collaboration again. Great. Super. Okay, so we don't have much time. I think I'm going to show you a couple of interesting sample tasks right now. One of them is typical. Another one is the most challenging. So let me find the right slide. Yeah, okay, hold on. Okay, this one. So this is a typical task. Oops, I'm showing you the answers. How come? Okay, it's a matching activity. You can see the option in the box and the definitions or examples given. So which is which? A5, many people are saying, very good. Yes, we know that this is the main aim. Yeah, very good. Yeah, absolutely right. So yeah, we've identified the personal aim. Great. Okay, many people are saying that, oh, hold on, we have different answers, but some people are right actually. So C is the procedure. And what will be D? Yes, this is it. Yeah. So at the bottom corner, yeah, in the corner on the left, you can see the answers. All right. Okay. Yeah. So hopefully we agree. And now we can focus on something more challenging, something that many candidates struggle with. What type of task do you think I'm talking about? Sequence. Odd one out. Yes. Odd one out. Yeah. I think I have a sequence activity somewhere on one of the slides. Yeah, but we need, oh, we've done one. Remember, I showed you the procedure of a reading lesson. So we've done sequence already. So now it's time to focus on odd one out. So first, what you do, what's the task, what you're asked to do, then get rid of the good answers and type in the right answer, okay? Okay, don't jump to the conclusions right away. Take a moment. I can see some incorrect answers. Remember, it's odd one out. One of the aims is not appropriate. Mark the aim which is not appropriate. So 15 is not A, because usually that's what lead-in is for, to create interest. Okay, yeah, now we are on the same page. Oh, hold on. Some people are still saying it's 15C. Personalizing the topic of the lesson is a very appropriate aim of a lead-in, of a typical lead-in, which is why B will be the correct answer. Yeah, to introduce the past simple tense is never the stage aim for a lead-in, right? We'll be introducing the target language in the language clarification stage. Okay, how about 16? Let's have a look at 16. The same thing. Double check. Are you sure it's an odd one? Or maybe it's a good aim. Listening. Remember, we have the stage name, listening. How can it be? Provide a modal. Provide a modal is actually one of the aims of listening stages if you are using a text-based presentation technique, right? So it's quite likely. Checking understanding of the tape is also natural, yeah, if there is a listening task. But pre-teaching can't be done during listening. It's either before listening, yeah, well, it's likely to be before listening. That's the only way, right? Yeah, so good. Okay. Okay. Are we happy now? Does it make sense? Okay, good. Yeah. Right. Okay. I have one more page with an extract, yeah, the next part of the same task. So you will still have to find not appropriate aims. Okay, one more round. Okay. Now we can see the distinction between lessons on skills and lessons on systems. Well done. Many of you are giving the right answer. Okay. So let me reveal the right answers. So I can see many people have come up with the right ones. Yeah. Language focus. It can't be reading for gist, but focusing on target language, yeah, giving students the written record, yeah, and highlighting some of the things related to the form of new language, yeah, is something natural. Restricted practice or controlled practice is likely to help students practice in controlled, restricted way, focusing on accuracy, building confidence, but it's not personalized yet. Personalized will happen later. There is nothing about personalizing it here. Right. Okay, so that's a little bit challenging, but yeah, focus on the key information given. Now, I think we are all aware of the interaction patterns. Yeah, we can use different types of pairs, different types of panel discussions, yeah, even onion circles or buzz groups, yeah, as many interactions as possible, especially if you are teaching offline in a physical classroom. right? So you might be asked to identify the best interaction pattern for certain activities. Yeah, so that's what this slide for. So for example, if we consider find someone who, what type of interaction patterns will be using? Individual work, pair work, group work, mingling, or plenary? What will be the activity? Plenary. Good job. Okay, so you will see this slide later. You will be able to generate ideas. Now I want to hurry up and talk a little bit about assessment. Yeah, so some abbreviations, lesson plan, assessment. So remember, I've mentioned that assessment is continuous. So what we do, we observe students, we monitor, and we collect information about their performance. This is called informal assessment. Yeah? Unlike tests, when the students are informed that they'll have to sit a test, they'll have to take it in formal settings, and they are informed about that in advance. Even if it's like a short quiz, it might be still a test because they know they'll be given a mark and give they will receive feedback from you. Didn't want to say it in a passive way. Yeah, so this is it. What are the assessment activities we can talk about? Yeah, if it is like formal test, we are likely to use multiple choice, odd one out type of tasks, different other activities. If you are talking about informal assessment, probably there will be some speaking activities which you're planning to use to collect information about students' interests, needs, their level of awareness, yeah, gaps in knowledge as well, right? If you want to identify gaps in knowledge, they're likely to be more controlled. Yeah, something that we do in test, teach, test procedures, as the first task is likely to be a kind of matching or gap fill or something like that. That will help you identify students' need. If it is a fluency-based activity, it's harder to catch what they actually need. But at the same time, it's easier for the students to understand what language they need and what they need it for. That's why we like authentic activities. Okay, so I have a quiz to finish this session. Yeah, hold on, I can't find my slide. And yeah, how much you remember about Model 2? So have a look. What's the answer to number 1? Yes, lesson planning, absolutely right. Okay, how about number 2? Okay. Very good. Yeah, it is likely to be revise and consolidate. So 2B is correct. How about number 3? Okay, yeah, lots of you are saying it is C, and that's right. Yeah, it's more like an assumption. How about number 4? Okay, number 4 is C, both of the above. Yeah, yeah, good job. Yeah, I don't know if you're using the overhead projectors, but I like projecting my slides, yeah, for some of my students, so it might save time. How about number 5? Yeah, okay, awesome. So some of the things that we've talked about, yeah, are highlighted here, yeah, on this slide. Some of the things we didn't have time to discuss explicitly, you will see on some other pages. For example, the things we haven't discussed but might be useful for everyone, different online tools, different applications, different websites. For example, a brainstorming tool, Answer Garden. Yeah, I would recommend using it. Or some different online dictionaries, including corpus-based ones, yeah, like Longman, Dictionary of Contemporary English, or NetSpeak, a dictionary, well, not a dictionary search, actually, a search of words based on corpus, yeah, how words naturally co-occur in contexts, yeah, things like that. So you will see some of the slides that I skipped so that I can finish on time. Hopefully, all the materials that I've shared with you today will help you prepare fantastic lessons for your students, because that's what we've been talking about, planning lessons, right? And of course, it's about preparing for TKT as well. Yeah, so it's practical and useful, hopefully. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, my dear teachers. For me, it's always a pleasure to speak with people who are so much interested in TKT, in methodology, and I mean, in general, interested in what we are doing at Cambridge University Press and Assessment. So I'm very excited that all our present and hopefully future attendees of this webinar. So don't forget, the next session will be tomorrow. That's about Module 3. Definitely will benefit from some unique insights into TKT preparation. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And we do hope to see you tomorrow. Okay? So see you tomorrow.
Thank you
Thanks
for your active participation, guys. Yeah, see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.